live on what might be called a privileged planet. One of the most notable privileges that Earth enjoys is orbiting an uncannily calm star. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. Recently, a New York Times article drew attention to a corona that's not a virus and that makes life possible instead of threatening it. The corona, or the outermost part of the sun's atmosphere, puzzles astronomers because it is, as compared to other stars at least, so calm. We take the sun for granted, unless, of course, it disappears for a few cloudy days or burns us badly at the beach or less often disrupts our satellite communications. Maybe once every century or so, it could burp enough energy to fry technology and maybe even ignite the northern lights all the way down in the Caribbean, as happened in 1859. But aside from such rare instances as these, it's easy to forget that the local star that warms our faces and wakes our flowers, this blazing ball of fusion-powered plasma, is actually capable, at least in theory, of scorching our planet and all of us to a lifeless cinder. However, a new paper published in the journal Science suggests that's exactly the sort of thing we should expect from the sun if it behaved like other stars like it. But it doesn't. The good news is, as the Times put it, the star around which we orbit is just downright boring, at least compared to its solar siblings. Astronomers at the Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research in Germany, after compiling data from NASA's retired Kepler Space Telescope, which spent years monitoring about 150,000 distant stars, concluded that our sun's relative calm is among the reasons we are here at all. After identifying 369 comparable stars in our galaxy, these scientists learned something astounding. The magnetic activity that creates the sunspots, solar flares, and coronal mass ejections on other stars is, on average, 5 times more intense than on our sun. On some stars that were studied, these disruptions were 12 times more intense. That level of chaos makes life in their orbits virtually impossible. So why would our sun behave so differently than all the others? One unsettling theory, especially given the what else could possibly go wrong start to 2020, is that our sun is currently asleep, but might at some point wake up and then blast us with deadly levels of radiation. Another idea is that our sun is old, it's aging, and because it's so now over the hill, it has fewer bursts of energy to send off. That sounds reasonable to those of us reaching middle age. Well, currently, according to researchers, one theory is not to be favored over another. But what is clear, as the Times observes, is that our sun's relative tranquility has unquestionably benefited our species. As the study's lead author put it, it may be no coincidence that we live around a very inactive star. Of course, coincidence is the only reason anyone already committed to naturalism can feasibly offer. If, however, the blinders of that particular worldview are removed, then a third explanation becomes a possibility, that our host star is uniquely friendly to life because it was finely tuned by God to support life. In the marvelous book The Privileged Planet, Jay Richards and Guillermo Gonzalez list the many features that make our Earth, sun, and the corner of the universe we're in uniquely suited for life. Not only do we have the right kind of star, we're just the right distance from that star. We're at the right location in the galaxy. We're in a solar system with gas giants that shield us from wandering asteroids and comets. We have a moon just the right size to stabilize our axis and create tides and seasons. We're on a planet with land, liquid water, oxygen, plate tectonics, and a molten iron core that generates a magnetosphere. You tally up all these factors, as Richards and Gonzalez do in their book, and it's a dizzying improbability that we should be here at all, something like 1 out of 1 followed by 15 zeros. And yet, here we are, bathed in the warmth of a star scientists increasingly recognize as rare and uniquely hospitable. Our brightest minds could hardly imagine, much less imagine attempting to design a better solar system than the one that we're in. And all of this is why we ought to thank the brightest of all minds, that one that made our minds bright enough to discover all these remarkable things about our privileged planet in the first place, for our privileged place in the universe, and for our blessedly boring sun. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.